based on the state of our economy, the thought pattern of tariffs right now, the fact that trade wars are going on, there's things in your life that's going to go up because of disruptions, because of supply and demand, and the fact that sometimes things are just going to be higher. Not because we like it, but because the speculation of it. The goods that are here now did not get tariffed. They didn't get traded for a higher price. They're already here. But the speculation of the next shipments and the next goods makes the supply and demand change. And it makes a disruption. Disruption makes price increases. Price increases, of course, hurts the consumers. Now, this is not just to blame on one president or the other. Again, we see the fact of kicking the can down the road for the last 50 to 60 years that's hurt our dollar. Our buying power is not as strong. But today we're going to talk about 10 items, 10 things that are going up in price because of the disruptions that we just talked about. Now, all these things are household things that you need and that you are buying daily. But if we talk about them, then maybe if you needed this or needed that, you would put it ahead of something else that may not feel as much of a disruption or price increase. Today we're going to talk about those things, 10 things that you should purchase this week. Things that I actually did purchase or have on my list to purchase for the week because I know the price will be going up. Shortages will happen, which will make supply low, demand high, which means price increase. Let's dive into this list today. Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. Thank you so very much for being here. We're kind of stepping away from just the updated news and things going on current event wise to talk about some of the things that you need when we talk about prepping and sustainability. Now, we do these buy videos a lot. We used to do a lot more of them, but we know the pressure of people having to purchase things is tough right now. We know that it costs a lot of money to buy things, and especially in this economy with inflation, with interest, and with the fact that people are living paycheck to paycheck. There's a study that shows 60 to 70% of people live paycheck to paycheck. But I do want to build this list for you so that way you can see the things that you should be looking at. Or if you are needing, not wanting, but needing, these are the things that you should eye out because they're going to go up in price. Each one of these goods are things that are heavily imported or things that are heavily marketable based on other countries and sustainability and trade. Also, there's nothing wrong with stockpiling some of these goods because you never know what may happen. Let's look at these headings right quick. As globalism breaks, nations must learn to survive on their own necessities. U.S. stock decline amid tech losses, growth concerns, and tariff uncertainty. U.S. CEOs are hitting the highest exit routes in January for the last 22 years, meaning these biggest CEO of these big firms making all this money know that signs of the market is struggling. Signs of uncertainty in the economy is struggling. Trump says that he believes that globalists are helping make the stock market plunge. It's not a bad thought. U.S. Secretary, and this may be the biggest one, he said access to cheap goods is not the essence of the American dream. Meaning he wants everybody in America to do better. It shouldn't just be because we got to buy it cheap because we don't have the money. However, that's the kind of time we're in. So let's jump into this list because I do think this could help you make some good, wise decisions on stockpile needs. Now, if you like this, I have another list of foods that never go bad that we're going to do probably later on in the next few days. But I want you to say, hey, this is good, this is what we need because we see the news, we see how bad things are. Now let's get the things that we need. Now, number one, it's going to be electronics. Now, this is not a necessity in some fashions, but it is in others. For instance, if you have a smartphone that is broken and you've been looking to upgrade, think if you need something done to your car that deals with your electronics. Say you're needing a laptop, another computer for work. This may be the time to buy. I want you to listen to this. China is the dominant supplier of all electronics, including significant portions of smartphones, laptops, and components for all the things electronics. Tariffs in China, of course, looking at 10% or higher, often lead to the cost of manufacturers going up, which typically passes on the consumers. Expect higher prices, 10 to 20%, for a while until the trade wars have subsided. Now, as I told you before, I don't blame this on just Trump. I think that we have an unbalanced way of looking at trade. That's why we're in a deficit like we're in. So we have to go through these valleys, and one of the valleys is electronics. So if there's things that you're needing that are electronic, it may be the time to buy while you have the opportunity to buy the stuff that's here in America, not the stuff that is now going to be imported to Dell or Apple or so forth, because they need those parts. Those parts will be more. They're not going to take the loss. They're going to pass it on to you. So number one, electronics. Number two, vehicles and auto parts. Now, this is a big one. I actually talked to a new dealer yesterday, and I said, what do you think about all this going on? He said, you know, the vehicles are here. The speculation of the economy and consumers' weariness to buy because cars cost extreme high amounts. He said it's making people not want to buy cars anymore. He said not only that, he said because the manufacturer will feel the burden on new cars coming in because of the price increases, he said that means we will have to pass that down to the consumer. He said cars are already way too high. And that's true. What about the used cars and automotive parts? I had 3 automobiles in the shop this week. Not because I wanted to, but 2 of them I needed something done to, and I knew that the parts were going up because of this right here. Auto parts are made in Canada and Mexico and China and India. You don't see a lot of made in America parts anymore, which is very sad, and I think that's what Trump is getting back to. But what did I say? It's going to take time. It says Canada and Mexico supply the largest share of car and automotive parts to the U.S. 25% tariffs on them could increase new car prices, but not only that, the used car market because of the price of fixing things on the cars. So if you need something fixed on your car and you've been putting it off, don't put it off anymore, because in a few weeks it could be more. Because until we can get back to manufacturing in America and set that back up, which may take time, it's going to cost more. Number 3 is a biggie. It's food, produce. Now, sadly, this is a hard one for me because we try to produce as much as we can on our farm, and to be honest with you, we can be fully sustainable. But there's times I may want an avocado. There's times I may want something from the store that I can't particularly grow here, like apples. I can't grow apples here. Well, a lot of those things are coming from overseas in Mexico and other areas across, especially if you're talking citrus fruit or tropical fruit. A lot of those things are not coming from America. Now, not only that, places in America like California that dealt with the wildfires and dealt with the flooding in the northern part of the state have felt pressure, and their crops are not growing as good. Remember, I read a few weeks ago a story about how we're going to see a time of famine or drought here in America. Not biblical proportions that, but that it's going to cut our supply of food down because the way that we're monocropping land, we're not building regenerative agriculture. So therefore, our foods will cost more. I.e., look at shortages with eggs, they've skyrocketed. Look at the shortages with avocados and tomatoes and strawberries. They've skyrocketed if you've tried to buy them lately. So buy some produce. Now the thing about produce is it doesn't last long. We understand that. So you eat fresh as much as you can, and then we learn to do other things with those same foods. So for instance, let's just say apples. If we can buy them now, economic, I can can them, I can dehydrate them, I can freeze dry them, I can freeze them, or I could literally put them in a dish or make them in some kind of thing and then freeze the whole casserole or fruit dish or apple pie or whatever I'm making. I know that sounds crazy, but just think if your apples go up 25%, if your avocados go up 25%, if your tomatoes go up 25%. First of all, if your tomatoes, mostly anybody and everybody in any climate can grow tomatoes. I mean, there are cold and warm tolerant tomatoes. So you need to find ways that you can grow more your own produce. But if you can't, start buying it and learning how to preserve it and putting it up on the shelf like we see right behind me. I have pears and pineapples and peaches literally sitting right beside me. All those things I either grew or bartered. And so therefore, if I can learn to make it last longer, that pineapple, pear, and peach were a lot cheaper the last 2 to 3 years than they are right now. So number 3, produce. Before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. Have you ever Googled yourself and literally your family members and information of yours came up? The question always comes to mind is how much of my public information is actually on the World Wide Web, on the internet where people could just access it. Not only that, think about all the spam calls you get, all the spam emails you get. I get several a day and have to block and block and block. That's where my friends at Aura, the sponsor of today's video, can help. Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people searching sites to sell your information from and to identity thieves and scammers and more. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, your house number, your phone number. And not only do they check it and monitor it, they will alert you if all of a sudden they find that your information has been compromised. Also, Aura VPN. VPN protects you on the internet, and this was with military grade protection when it comes to Aura's VPN. It blocks all scam and phishing sites from getting your information in your accounts. What about an antivirus? What about a password manager? 24/7 US-based support. I get all this in one app called Aura. I do not want to leave myself vulnerable. We talk about it all the time. We live in a digitized world. The last thing I want to do is protect my home and not protect myself online. Check out aura.com/themax today. You will not be sorry that you did. My information is mine. My social is my social. My address is mine. The last thing I want is someone else to have it. You can go to my link below, aura.com/themax, and get 2 weeks free. That will be enough for you to see how Aura is an asset to you, because you're going to realize how much you're exposed online. Stop leaving yourself vulnerable. Check out Aura today. Link is in the description. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video. Number 4 is a biggie, gas and fuel. Now you think, well, gas and fuel, we've talked about being more sustainable here in America, and we are. We're getting there. They talked about the Keystone XL pipeline. They talked about drill baby drill. They talked about opening up our avenues for exploration to make us fully independent. But because of Biden's antics, and because we cut a lot of that fuel exploration off and we quit tapping wells, guess what? We went back relying on other people to provide it for us. Well, Canada's one of those places. So when we do that, the tariffs are kicking in, and also the fact of the speculation of the Middle Eastern wars and things going on over there, the fact that Russia is still the biggest provider on the other side of the world. Not only that, Maduro with Venezuela, we said we're not buying fuel from them anymore. So until we're, again, those wells are fully functioning again like it was with last Trump's administration, where we were independent with oil and our gas was cheaper, it's going to take time again to rebuild it back up, because Biden destroyed it last time because of all the initiatives that he wanted to pass on this global push. So number 4 is making sure you buy some oil and gas. Now, it's still cheap right now compared to where it can get, but they said it could very easily go up. And you know, summer when people are traveling, it goes up. So please, don't let the speculation and time go. I've bought me some extra gas cans. I've also bought extra propane tanks because, again, like I've told you before, this is storm season for us, so we keep a lot of propane on hand for safety to run our generators, but also to have for cooking and alternative ways of use when the storms come through. So I don't want to be unprepared. And if I can buy it more economical right now, I'm going to do it. So gas, oil, diesel, and propane. I've bought all of those, and I've made sure that I have kept them in stockpile. I switch them out, rotate them around because they don't last forever. But I learned to rotate and have them on shelf because, again, those propane tanks, most of my propane tanks are from last year. They're about a $10 savings compared to what they cost this year. Well, with tariffs, what if that propane goes up another 20%, 30%? So make sure you're understanding the value of buying these oils and gases, because it could save you a lot of money. Number 5 is going to be liquor. Now, I don't drink, I told you that before, but liquor is made a lot of times places like Mexico and, of course, the other places in the world. You know, Russia has some vodka and things like that. Now, here's where I want to say why we buy liquor. We buy liquor for tinctures. And now, when we talk about food prepping and something lasting on the shelf forever, vodka never goes bad. Higher index volume alcohols do not go bad. So like Everclear, bourbon, or forms of whiskey, moonshine, or liquor. Now again, I don't drink, and I would challenge you not to drink, but if I'm building tinctures and making herbal remedies and extracting things like vanilla, we make our own vanilla. If I'm making any kind of remedies, it takes liquor. And this is a big part of homeopathic medicine, natural medicinal medicine, with foraging goods and understanding how to extract the goodness out of herbs and plants. If we want to be holistic and sustainable, and we want to make sure that we're not always dependent on a pharmacy that's from overseas or going to the pharmacy here in town, liquor is a good thing to have on your shelf. Now, beer would also go up. I don't really use beer. We have used beer in our gardens to keep slugs away. But again, I don't drink, so I would challenge you not to put this on your list. But think about buying some extra liquor to put on your shelf and learn how to do tinctures. Learn how to find out how to forage, how to extract the goodness out of the things that you are needing for homeopathic medicine and for sustainable medicine, and living in the old ways. This is a good thing to have, good practice to have. 25% price on, higher end vodkas and things like that you're needing. that will make that price go up, and that makes your tinctures and natural remedies go up, which means it's hard to make your own if it's costing the money that it's going to cost. So make sure you have some of this on your shelf. Number 6, you know we're building a greenhouse right now, and we just did some other work to a barn, the pig barn that we just finished up. Lumber is going to go up in price. Now, lumber comes mostly from America. However, Canada provides about 1/3 of the U.S. softwood lumber critical for construction. A 25% tariff could increase lumber costs to 20 to 25%. Now, I'm not just going to say lumber, and here's where I want to go back. Because we have depended on our workforce that has been illegal for a long time, carpenters are going to struggle building quicker, faster, and so therefore it's going to take longer to build something with the same lumber if you're hiring it out. Now, in most cases, if we're doing work on a barn, or if we're doing little menial things, like I'm just going to build a little rabbit coop, that's not costing me a carpenter. I'm just going to build it myself. But the wood may cost more. So this could actually hit you twice. I actually talked to 2 individuals yesterday. They were talking about building a house, and I just told them, I said, you're crazy to build a house now. And they're like, well, we're throwing our money away renting. I said, I understand that. I feel like you think you are. But if you get in a building right now and there's not enough workers, that means your price of carpentry is going to go up. The lumber is going up in price. The interest is not going down. The mortgage crisis is getting worse. Why do you want to build right now? I know it's hard to say, I don't want to build. Hey, buy a little tiny home and put on the property. Build you a little tin shed to put on the property for the time being. But remember, still, even though a lot of steel comes from here, a lot of steel comes from overseas. And that's the same situation. If you're looking at building something, you better start stockpiling that stuff now and start getting it at your place. If not, you better hold off and wait for all this to subside. Because right now, this is not the time to build, especially if you're having to use debt. If you're needing to fix something, correct something, add an addition on, do it with cash, but make sure that you do it and start buying some of that lumber now. Put it up. We have a barn. I always show you the barn on the other video on the other channel, Life of Kobe Mack. That barn, we keep a lot of extra wood in. Anytime we have extra wood, we put it up, we keep it safe, keep it out of the weather, so that way we can use it for other projects. And we've stockpiled wood from other things, or we've also broken down things, recycled wood, and it saves us money as we build our projects. Building materials will go up. Number 7 is clothing or apparel. It says China and Mexico are major sources of textile and footwear. Tariffs to 10 to 20% will cost more to the clothes that you're wearing. Sadly, there's nothing, unless you purposely buy made in America clothing, which you're going to pay a little bit more for, everything that you have on your body at any given time is nowhere near American shore. That's sad. It's heartbreaking, actually. But until we learn to build our textile and footwear stuff back here in America, which I don't know if we will, I hope we will. I love to see some of these companies did it. I know Under Armour did it for a little bit. I know Patagonia did it for a little bit, and I think some of them still send it out. But what I'm saying is, if you really want to support American business, then you need to really start investing in clothing from American companies, American apparel. Now, if you can't, and you're looking for economic clothing, well, it's supposed to go up because, again, tariffs make things go up. You're not going to see those charges just on a shirt that's going to cost you $1 more. But say you have to buy several shirts or several clothes. We have 8 members of the family. Now, we don't buy a lot of clothes, but when we have to go buy something, if you're buying for 8 people, like Christmas time or like birthdays or things like that, clothing and footwear will go up. We run a lot. I noticed just my son had to buy some new running shoes, and they were about $10 more. Now, you're thinking $10 more. Well, that was 10%. So if we see the price going up $10 on this and $10 on that and $5 on this, that's going to hurt our balance sheet for sure. So make sure if you're needing to buy some clothes, maybe buy some clothes off season. That's one thing that we love to do, especially me. I'm a cheapskate. So like right now it's coming spring and summer and everybody's getting their swimwear out and all that. You know what I'm buying? I'm buying jackets that's on discount at different stores. I'm looking on, literally, I kid you not. I look online and see where people are discounting certain things because that's when I purchase off-season, last season's goods because it saves me money. Number 8, plastics or toys or goods that go in your home, what we call cheap goods. Think of Tupperware. Think of toys for your children. Think of plastics that you use. Now, I'll be honest with you. We don't use a lot of plastic. We don't. We actually use glassware or stainless steel when it comes to cooking and things like that. With toys, you try to buy wood toys and steel toys, but to be honest with you, most toys are made of plastic. I just want you to look though. I'm going to show you a few things. Now, you see these egg incubators? You see that ice cream maker right there? You see that little disinfectant bottle? That's all plastic. Well, guess what? that's going up in price because most of every bit of those goods that we import are from China. Now, one thing that we should learn from these tariffs and trade wars is how much we're dependent on everyone else. What did I say in the first part of this? More people and more countries are wanting to do things internally, meaning they are wanting to Americanize America. They're wanting to make Italy great again. They're wanting to make Argentina great again. That's all great. But because we've depended on a global system for so long, it's going to take time for all these countries to get back on a straight path. Argentina and El Salvador have started doing this, but it's taken them years. Well, we're a lot bigger country than them, and it's going to take us years. So plastic goods are going to go up, so make sure that you're buying things that, if you are using plastic or you are buying things that are made in plastics, as much as you don't want to, sadly, a lot of things that we buy are plastic, so it's going to go up. Make sure that you are stockpiling things that you need that deal with storage and holding your goods. If it's toys for your children, plastics will go up. Start looking at options to buy these things now before it gets real expensive. Number 9, I told you this last week with the appliances. If you're buying major appliances, if you need a new freezer, a new refrigerator, a new washer and dryer, I know you've been bit and piecing it together. If you're needing to fix anything like a washer and dryer or you're needing to buy new, this is the time. Every dealer, every flipping dealer, every kind of appliance, I think less than 10% is made here in America. So that means everything is imported, down to the TVs that you watch this on, to literally the freezer that you're putting your meat in, down to the microwave, which we don't even have a microwave. We hadn't had a microwave in 12 years, but down to any of those kind of appliances, from minor to big, coffee pots to walk-in coolers, all come from overseas. If you're needing to purchase or fix something right now, it is the time. We had a washer break the other day, and I told you the guy couldn't fix it. I mean, it was like he said, I can't get the parts anymore. They don't even make them. They discontinue them. That made me upset. But then he said, well, guess what? The ones you buy next, I can't even work on because they're so computerized. And the motherboards and all that, once they start going out, it's cheaper to buy washer and dryers again. Well, that's depressing to me. I don't want to buy washers and dryers again. I want one that lasts 30 years like my grandparents had. But sadly, it's not happening anymore. So these things are made to tear up, and they cost a lot. But if you're needing to purchase, this may be the time, because I promise you, any Ace Hardware or any Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart or wherever you're buying your goods will start making these prices go up because nothing is made here in America. Number 10, furniture. Again, kind of like the appliances, sadly, unless you're getting it home-built, homemade, like we just built a brand new big table because we're a family of 8 and we have people over some, so we built a 12-seater table. All the tables we had before we were kind of outgrowing. So the thing is, I had it built, but it was made here in America. It was made by a guy just down the road from us, about an hour away from us, with lumber that was, again, sourced here. That's great, but not everything in my house is done like that. So when you look at furniture, furniture is one of the most expensive things compared to what it costs to make them. However, 90% of furniture is not made in America. So it is imported in through third world countries or through shipping needs. Well, those things are going up, remember. So if you looked at replacing furniture, you better start doing it now. If you're looking to repair some of the furniture that you have, it may be the time to repair it. If you cannot buy things right now and wait, then wait. You need to save money. If it's not a true need, then it's a want, and we try to not spend money that we don't have to. Now, one thing about this video I wanted you to understand is, sadly, it's really depressing because it shows how much of our life, our normal livelihood, is dependent on other countries. And do I believe this administration is trying to change that? Absolutely. But because of that, it's going to cost. It's going to take time. Does that make it easier on you? No, because we're not stimulating the economy. We're not getting reprieves or breaks from taxes. So that's why I always talk about current events, how we need to end the Fed, how we need to fix taxes, how we need to reform the spending. But one thing we've realized is the national government is not going to fix their mess. We think they are, but guess what? There's a continuing resolution in 9 days, and it will pass. It's kicking the can down the road because your Congress and Senate are going to keep on spending money. So when our national house and our state houses are not in order, that means you're going to feel tough times. And this is one of those times. So now you need to get your house in order. And when we talk about buying things and stockpiling things that can make your life easier and cheaper and more economical, and you can do that right now, it's the time to do it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this video. The next one will be a food stockpile of foods that never go bad. if you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments. I'm really trying to figure out what's the best way forward, because I know that sometimes the platform does not like us sharing truth. But we want to share truth as much as we can, and if we can find other ways to do that, please let me know what your thoughts are on some of these stockpile videos. If you like them, we're going to keep on putting them out. Thank you guys for watching. God bless.